Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily, presented by LeBears Casino. Ronnie Rance here with you alongside TK Tommy Chrysan on this Friday morning edition. TK over at Tremonti's joining us at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. I'm at an undisclosed location presented by the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. I've been chatting and meeting with Louisiana Sports Hall of Famers for the class of 2026. Getting ready for our Hall of Fame golf tournament. That's going to be November 16th and 17th, our celebrity event in Baton Rouge. You can find out all about it at lasportshall.com. That's lasportshall.com. And of course, we're presented by LeBears Casino. This weekend at LeBears Casino, the Edge Lounge is going to be popping. Of course, don't forget 18 Steak for all your special occasions, one of the great steakhouses in the Baton Rouge area. And go to the ESPN Bet Sportsbook to watch the games this weekend. Only two games, Tommy, again in college football with ranked opponents facing each other. Vandy at Alabama. Vanderbilt at Alabama being two ranked teams is not something that happens very often, if ever. And then, of course, the other one, Miami at Florida State. One of that rivalry, that game, Miami at Florida State in the '90s was the biggest college football game of the year, maybe even into the 2000s, the first 5 years or so of the 2000s. For a 15-year run, I'd be willing to bet Miami at Florida State was must watch TV.
Yeah, it really was. I'll age myself a little bit. When I was younger in the '70s, it was always the Oklahoma Nebraska game, you know, or the USC UCLA game. And then you're right. Once we get about a 15-year window that Miami, Florida, both teams trying to win national championships, is before the playoffs and the bowl system and all of that, the playoff system. So yeah, no. So but that's only there's only two games where we got two ranked teams playing each other this weekend, and you just nailed those two. Most weekends it's a little bit more than that, especially earlier in the year. But yeah, so with LSU not playing, the fans are going to have to find their fix. That'll be two good ones to watch. Because keep in mind, Alabama lost at Vanderbilt last year. Diego Pava, the quarterback for Vanderbilt. He was this summer. We're going to be undefeated. We're going to win the national championship. Blah blah blah. Well, they get a chance to make a statement in Tuscaloosa, and of course, Bama's thinking, "Hey, we lost last year. We got to turn that back around."
Wide right. Whenever you hear the term wide right, I immediately think Florida State, Miami. I mean, like, that there were so many games decided by wide right, even a wide left, one of them. Just crazy. Florida State struggled in the field goal kicking department for off and on for years, and that was a sort of a joke. But
I,
anyway,
I,
I'll be
I
what.
I remember people saying Florida State's got like four offensive tackles that'll be in the NFL, and they don't have a guy that can kick. So
Yeah.
that yeah, Bobby Bowden. I bet he still loses sleep over some of that from in the '90s.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. That was Alabama for a little while. Nick Saban overcame that even with. Remember when Nick's first, half a dozen years or so when he was at Alabama, there were some, terrible kickers that he had. LSU, of course, in 2011. Remember that when their kicker missed three or four field goals or something against them over in Tuscaloosa in that game of the century. But look, to me. And Major League Baseball is better when the Yankees and Red Sox are good. College football is better when Florida State and Miami are good, like it or not. You don't have to be a fan of those teams, but the history that they bring, the NFL players, the colors, the brand, the geography, all that. It's a good thing when they're good. And this year, both teams are pretty good. So, we'll find out who's the better one when they face this weekend. Vanderbilt is, to me, not getting enough love and then enough. They're the story of the SEC with what they're doing. They are legit. They are real. And how about this? LSU's going to go back to back weekends. Or, they've got I'm sorry. They got not back to back weekends. Originally, they had looked like it was going to be that way, but it's not. LSU's going to play South Carolina this week against a running mobile quarterback, a guy who can hurt you with his legs, hurt LSU last year with his legs. And Norris, the first half of the game against LSU at South Carolina, if he doesn't get hurt, I think they win the game. Um, and now they're going to face him, and then they're going to have Pavia next week, who, not only can he run around you, he can run over you. You're not afraid. So LSU's going to face a quarterback that's probably pretty similar, different size structures. One's a bowling ball, but both tough runners, can throw it, elusive. So it's going to be an interesting combo. And next week, when LSU takes on South Carolina next week, but then the week after they go to Vanderbilt. That's an 11 a.m. noon start. Hasn't been determined yet, but it's in that slot, that 11 a.m. to noon slot. So you're going to have an early game on the road. That LSU traditionally doesn't do well in early games, home or away. So that will be interesting. But obviously, first up, South Carolina, Tommy. But before we get to turn the attention to LSU, shocked about this NFL line this Sunday in the Dome. The Saints have a home game and they're favored, even though they're 0-4.
They're favored against the 1-3 Giants, who got their first win against a good Chargers team last week. Saints are a point and a half favorite. Over and under is 41.5. They really think it's going to be a close, low scoring game. You got Spencer Rattler, who has played well. He hasn't been the only problem or the problem for the offense. And then, of course, Ole Miss's Jackson Dart took over the Giants last week and ran for a touchdown, threw for a touchdown, and they beat a 3-0 team. First time an 0-3 team beat a 3-0 team in like 18 years, something like that. So, can the Saints get a win? Can Kellen Moore get a win? Can Spencer Rattler get a win? I would think sooner or later it's going to happen, and maybe it would be against the Giants. Nobody thought they'd beat the Bills last week, but maybe in the dome, maybe the dome foam can be flowing and the crowd will get crazy. But I am surprised that the Saints are a point and a half favorite.
I'm shocked by that. They started out a 2.5 point dog, and now they moved to a 1.5 point favorite. That is a big, big swing with nothing major happening. I mean, Malik Neighbors being out for the year, that's big, but that was sort of known when the line came out originally.
Yeah,
So I don't
he was
understand
he was hurt last Sunday. Yeah.
why it swung so much. And, you know, I mean, you would think that, okay, the prospect would be that the Giants found their guy, right? They made the change, Jackson Dart. Um, yeah, I get it. He's on the road. It's his first road start. He's a rookie, and maybe that traditionally is what they're looking at. But Jackson Dart's going to have a homecoming. You know how many Ole Miss Rebel fans are going to be in the Dome this weekend? I
A
mean,
lot.
that's all that people talked about outside of the LSU Ole Miss game in Oxford last weekend. Everywhere you went, it was Jackson Dart this, Jackson Dart that. Oh, Jackson Dart's starting tomorrow. I mean, I remember going to eat breakfast the next morning or whatever, like lunch or whatever, like that they couldn't get the game on, because the Giants game wasn't in that area and people were pissed about it. So there's going to be a lot of Ole Miss fans that aren't Saints fans, or even if they are, they're going to that game to cheer for Jackson Dart. So it's not going to be your traditional road environment. Um, and also because the game's early enough in the season, in the month of right, basically the first month of the season, a lot of Giants fans are going to be there. We see that traditionally, that whenever the Saints host road teams, that first month and a half, the road teams travel very, very well, because if you're a Giants fan, you look at that schedule, you're going to go, which road trips do I want to make? Well, New Orleans is a destination city for everybody. I mean, next to Vegas, it's probably the number one, traveled road game type of thing. So because of that, I'm sure the Giants Nation, before they went 0-3, booked hotels and flights and all that. And we've seen that first couple of games at home in New Orleans, man, the visiting team was just dominated. So the Giants are gonna have a lot of people there. Docs and Dart's going to have a lot of people there. It's not going to be your traditional road environment. Saints fans are over it. They're 0-4. They'll be there, but they're not going to be like ravenous dogs or anything. So this is not a tough environment for Jackson Dart to play in. I say all of that to say I don't understand how they're a 1.5 point dog. I think the bet is the under. Now, what's the over under, Tommy?
41 and a half.
Yeah, I mean it's a low number, but I don't think they're going to go over. I think
Well,
both
20,
offenses are
20
going
to
to be 3
7.
yards in a cloud of dust.
Always do this. 20-17 in the games under is a winner. Okay.
Right.
And I don't see more than 2017 out of either team.
21
Giant,
17 is a
yeah,
winner.
Giants don't have Malik Neighbors, and Rattler and Kellen Moore don't have that first win yet. I mean,
They
I
don't
don't
have
know.
Cesar Ruiz, one of their starting
Yeah,
guards, is
right.
out for a few weeks. I mean,
It's I
yeah,
think the under would be the play. I agree with you.
okay. Um, yeah, I mean, I would if I would bet the plus 1.5 for the Giants, and but I would like the under probably more than the plus 1.5. Um, LSU football. Let's get back to that open date. I mean, everybody has become a doctor, a physical therapist, a quarterback coach in the last 4 or 5 days. I mean, the people are breaking down this Garrett Nussmeier start, the first 5 games where he is not having quite the year that people thought he would have. He was supposed to win the Heisman. That's not going to happen. The only way he's at the Heisman is if one of the finalists invites him to come to the after party. But most people that claim to understand quarterback mechanics and that whatnot. I mean, T-Bob Abear, who now is at Barstool Sports, went off on it, said it's clear he is hurt and it is affecting his play.
I would agree with that. The old eyeball test. Take all the analytics you want and the stats you want. Sometimes, we're in that category where you just can look and see. But we've seen enough. We've seen a lot of people play sports, and I don't think he's healthy. Now Brian Kelly the other day said he's resting this week. Then he was at practice. So what are we resting or we? I guess you can be at practice and not do all the drills. I don't know. They don't want everybody out there, but for the whole time. But no, it's definitely something up, and I'm being repetitive, but it's like at the end of Peyton Manning and Drew Brees' career, you knew they couldn't throw the ball down the field. The eyeball test told you that. You didn't have to say, "Hey, Peyton, I'm 50 yards away. Can you throw me the ball?" You didn't have to do that. You could see, and you can see, like T. Bob Abear said, that something's up with Nussmeier because it doesn't match the progression you thought you would have with the fifth-year guy who has a lot of upside, but it isn't jumping out yet. Now, still a bunch of ball games to go. Maybe it'll turn around.
Yeah, that let's pray that there's some, get the Barry Bonds special cream that he used to rub on his legs and arms when he would work out, because we need that if you're an LSU fan. Um, Speaking of LSU, we got some Tigers that are in the postseason and some guys that are up for some awards. Who's the 3 former Tigers that are up for some awards?
There's an all MLB team, the best player in each position in each league. And Alex Bregman, third base for the Red Sox, word is he's going to opt out of his contract. That'll be interesting in the offseason. And they were eliminated last night. Paul Skeens, obviously, the numbers he's put up speak for themselves. And then Kevin Gosman, who has quietly become one of the best pitchers in the American League after bouncing around Baltimore, Atlanta, a few places. But those 3 guys, that's great recognition for the LSU program, and 3 guys who were never teammates at LSU. Oh, it was Gosman and Bregman together 1 year.
No, they were not together.
Okay, so 3 guys from 3 different who were never teammates at LSU are all standing out at MLB. Ronnie, no MLB postseason today. I've been watching a lot of the games in the office and all that. But tomorrow you got 4 games. Game 1 of the best of 5 divisional rounds. So 4 games. Here's your 8 teams that are left. Cubs are at the Brewers. Yankees are at the Blue Jays. Dodgers are at the Phillies. Tigers are at the Mariners. Nola won't throw for the Phillies in Game 1. They've announced Sanchez to throw. Toronto hasn't posted it yet, and I'm not sure the last time Gosman threw, but there's a chance he's there. And then I don't think we have any. Is Hunter Fiducia still up with the Dodgers?
I don't know if
I
he
don't
made the
know.
postseason roster or not.
Yeah,
I didn't
something I
see
didn't.
I didn't see his name on the postseason list that Bill Frank has put out. I'm not sure.
Ronnie, something that I missed back in August when I was watching the Reds game the other night. Saw that Fraley wasn't in the lineup. Well, he was released by the Reds back in August and picked up by the Braves, and then got hurt, the old oblique thing. Okay, so I missed that one back in August that had happened. But anyway, 4 divisional round games tomorrow. You better get your baseball fix if you want it.
Yeah, I mean, real good ones. Um, all right. Let's see. Speaking of Bregman, real quick, he's going to go free agent. That's just I mean, that's a financial decision right there. I mean, he was beloved in Boston and everything this year. And wouldn't shock me if he re-signs with Boston. It's just a leverage play, might be the last time I don't want to say he's not like an old guy,
Well,
but this is an opportunity probably for his biggest contract.
well, he signed a 3-year deal with Boston, but he has an
And out
opt out
clause. Yeah.
in each year, which was a little bit rare, but I guess they wanted to have it because they wanted to get rid of Devers. By the way, all that commotion with Rafael Devers, he's one of only a handful of guys that played all 162 games this season. So you say what you want about the best ability is availability. He's an available kind of dude, and he does have a little pop in his bat
You
after that
you just
slow
have
start.
to you just have to let him DH, and you
Yeah.
have to just ignore him. You just
Well,
have to let him show up the field, be a pain in the ass,
it's
not be a
kind of
great
like
teammate, but he's gonna hit. It's just gonna
it's kind
hit,
of like it's kind of like Dennis Rodman. You just had to
right?
put up with him because he was going to pull 12 rebounds down,
But
and
the
he was
thing
going to
about
play.
Dennis Rodman was Dennis Rodman's shenanigans were off the court, not on the court. He was a hard worker, good teammate, all that kind of stuff. Devers isn't any of that. But
Well,
at the
when
end of the day, it's about production. Hold your nose, put him in the lineup, and just that's it.
Ronnie, also when he first got to the Giants, there was a private workout scheduled with him and Will Clark about playing first. Will going to do the footwork thing and teach him a little bit about playing first. Devers didn't show up, didn't text anybody like, "Hey, caught in traffic," or got hung up. He just didn't show up for that date with Will Clark to talk about playing first base.
Yeah, brutal. And oh, by the way, when he first got to the Giants, they were like in the playoffs and rolling, and then they went down the tank. I don't know if that has
Yeah.
anything to do with him or not, but they had one of the epic collapses. They're one of the best teams in baseball, and then as soon as he gets there, they become one of the worst teams in baseball. So I don't know. I don't know if it has to do with him poisoning that locker room or what. But we'll see. We'll see what Bregman ends up doing. He's going to get a major payday. Uh, David Ross, beloved manager for the Cubs, won a World Series as the manager of the Cubs, kind of a blue collar catcher, hard nosed player, beloved by the fans. He, obviously got let go in Chicago a couple few years back. He's been on the bench. Rumored that he is up for the Braves job, and that seems like that would be a good fit. So he's a name to watch over there in Atlanta as they made a managerial change.
Yeah. Brian Snicker, who played for Ron Maestri, the legendary coach for the UNO Privateers, who once had you as a ball boy, bat boy. But Brian Snicker, 39 years in the Braves organization, from minor league player to minor league coach to manager for 10 years, including the World Championship a couple of years ago. Brian Snicker, who I've never met, by the way, but he's going to move into some front office type role for the Braves, and they all looking for a manager. And I like David Ross with what he did with the Cubs, especially he had no managerial experience. Not like he managed in AAA or AA for a little while. And I thought he did well. And he's going to get a job, especially there's a lot of MLB jobs open right now. And I would guess the 8 teams still playing, none of those are going to open. So I think he got 7 or 8 jobs open right now. And I think David Ross will get one.
TK, last night went to dinner at Supper Club in Baton Rouge. My daughter had her 26th birthday,
Oh, my.
and
Ronnie,
yeah,
26?
yeah, yeah. So ended up going to dinner. My mom treated. We had like the chef's tasting wine pairing dinner that um, that she had bought at a Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame auction actually about a year ago, and let me just say the food was fantastic. They bring you way too much food and drink. I mean, but shout out and happy birthday to Madison, my daughter, who'll be 26 tomorrow, technically.
Wow.
And then also to Supper Club. They did an amazing job. Chef Layton over there did an awesome job, and we appreciate them. But if you get the chance, man, it's definitely a great place to go check out to go for a special occasion, no doubt about it. All right, TK, tell us about Tremonti's as we get out of here.
Well, we got a little something new going on at Tremonti's here. Just started. Let me put it up. You can now order online at tremontis.com and pick up only right now, but they will be having delivery coming soon. I'm gonna just say it that way. And of course, Thanksgiving's around the corner. They're famous for the fried turkeys, the grill, the roasted, the smoked turkeys, and the rotisserie turkey. So check it out, tremontis.com. Order online Pick up only at the moment, and then they'll delivery will coming soon, and we'll let you know about all that. So, Tremonti, they got everything you want. You got to stop by.
All right, for Tommy Christ and I'm Ronnie Rance. We'll be on the air tomorrow morning from 10 until noon on our weekly Sports Shorts radio show with Hunter McCann, Derry Beckwith, Joel Davis. That'll be in Lake Charles and on ESPN Radio Lake Charles, Lafayette, and Baton Rouge.
What city is Joel going to be in? I mean, New
Joel,
York, Oxford. He's everywhere
no,
last
no, no,
week.
no. He had his one per year. That's it. He went on his vacay. He was at the Ryder Cup last week. He was in Oxford at the game. That's it. You won't see him go anywhere for about 6-8 months. But we'll be at Fat Daddy's and Little Daddy's in Plaquemine tomorrow. So if you're in that area, come have lunch with us. If not, tune in to download the apps and listen to ESPN Radio in Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and Lake Charles. For Tommy Christ saying I'm Ronnie Rand. Special thanks to LeBear's Casino. We'll see everybody. Have a good one tomorrow. We'll see you. Have a good weekend. Go Tigers.